This is a John Alderman patent portable equilibrium carrying chair. And it was made as both an easy and comfortable chair, and it is very comfortable, as well as a sedan chair that could be used to carry the lady of a house or an invalid up and down the stairs, as you can see in this advert. And if you look closely at the advert, you'll see that the two men carrying the chair are doing so by this very elaborate pair of metal carrying arms fixed to either side, and they adjust so that you can always keep your back straight as you're going up the incline, and you can keep the equilibrium, as the name suggests. And you can also see in the image that the top section of the chair is removed from the frame to the bottom that has the legs. So let's show you how it all works and how it dismantles. Well, if we take the cushions off first, what I'm going to do actually is only take one arm off, and you can see that we have got a split pin here which fits to this arm. So if I pull that out, then that split pin separates the two parts of the hinges. We've got a trigger underneath here, and the arm comes off, and this is staying up in place because of the way the cushion is cut out. But what it does mean is that with that down, if you find it difficult to get out of the chair because of the arms, you've got more space now to get out. But what it also means is if you're an army officer, and this is a coincidental benefit, and you're wearing a sword, you can use the chair while still wearing the sword. And of course, chairs with only one arm used by the army are called court-martial chairs, because you are allowed to wear your sword if you are being court-martialed. So you can see how the arms come off. We'll take the other arm off, but while we're here actually, you can see this ring, and there is one on the other. If you look very closely at the illustration I showed, these rings were probably something to do with fitting the equilibrium carrying arms. They fixed on somehow. So let's remove the second arm. So split pin out, trigger pulled, the arm comes away, and here you can see the trigger mechanism a little bit better. You've got a mortise there that fits into the hinged section of the arm here, and that on the trigger just holds that in place. Now you've also got these bolts here which fit the top section to the bottom. So to show you how it's used as a sedan chair, we'll put the arms back on. But to pack it down, you can see that the back folds down neatly like that. And I'm just going to speed it up now, put the arms back on, remove the bolts, and show you how it dismantles. So with the top half of the chair removed from the frame, which has the legs, you can see that you could easily fix the metal equilibrium arms to these bolts, or these plates that the bolts went through to fix the top half to the bottom. And with it on its side now as well, we can also see that these bolt hole plates are also part of an iron rod which goes all the way underneath the seat frame to support. So you've got lots of strength there to support the seat as you're carrying somebody up the stairs or an incline. And whilst we've got this off, we can also have a good look at the lovely Alderman label here. He used big brass plates on most of his furniture, which is great. And to tell you a little bit about John Alderman, I mean, you can read up all of the detail on our website, campaignfurniture.com, under makers. I think Alderman is the first entry. John Alderman started working first of all for Thomas Chapman. Thomas Chapman was born in 1791, and he was a cabinet maker and upholsterer, and he was making so-called invalid furniture by at least 1835. By 1841, Alderman was living with Chapman and his wife at 8 Denmark Street, which was their manufactory. When Chapman retired, Alderman took over the business, and we start to see it listed under his name alone, John Alderman, although for a while they were Chapman and Alderman. The address on this plaque was 16 Soho Square, which is the main address associated with Alderman, and he moved to 16 Soho Square around about 1856-57 and lived there as well. They kept 8 Denmark Street as a manufactory, and later they also added 80 Tottenham Court Road as an address. So Soho Square and Tottenham Court Road were really probably the shops for selling with Denmark Street, the manufacturing. Alderman died in 1890. The company then became Alderman, Johnson and Co. And then in 1903, they were eventually bought out by one of their competitors, Ward, who was making similar things. But Alderman was a very good cabinet maker. I mean, he thought quite long and hard, I think, about the aesthetics of the piece as well as the practicality. And I mean, you can see the nice turning to the arm here, but also the practicality of having the arm hinged here to fold down. This trigger mechanism where you've got a tenon at the top of the post locking into the mortise in the arm. You've also got a mortise at the back of the arm here, which fits in to the back just to give it extra strength. The nice shaping of the back, the comfort with the caning, and the practicality of it in a way that it all folds down. And if we look at the frame, you can see these big plates here for bolting the top half to the bottom half. Some of these chairs you find they weren't bolted together. You don't have these grooves to receive the bolts, and they sit quite happily with the weight of the sitter keeping the chair in place. But to break it down further, these legs simply unscrew on very big fat wooden threads. So you can imagine how all of them come off, and then you're just left with the frame making it very easy to pack down. And you can see the thread there. You can also see these wonderful, great big casters. And that would also mean that the chair was very practical for wheeling somebody across the room from one end to the other. So, although these chairs were originally conceived as invalid chairs to make someone's life a little bit more comfortable, rather than campaign chairs, they were also made at that period, the second half of the 19th century, where the domestic and the travel market were kind of merging, and items made for one were soon found to be very useful for the other. And you can imagine that even though this wouldn't have been aimed necessarily at an army officer or a traveller, but it would be very practical. And in fact, Alderman did advertise in Bradshaw's travel guides. So that kind of gives you an idea that he also realised the dual market that he had. So anyway, to sum this chair up, and it's on our website, you can see it, you can read a full description of it there. It's a mahogany patent portable equilibrium carrying chair by John Alderman of 16 Soho Square. English, very comfortable, cane back, leather cushions and arm pads, which we've replaced, but it would have had something similar when it was first made. And it's a great chair. It's a super height for working at a desk, but it's also a good height to use as a reading chair or just an easy chair. The one thing, of course, I haven't spoken about is these two little brass plates here with holes in, and they probably would have simply been for a bar to slot in across, just to hold the person in while you're carrying them. But anyway, go and have a closer look at it on our website, campaignfurniture.com.